This is KGW News at noon.
1 hour ago, a red flag warning kicked in, signaling high fire danger for Oregon and Southwest Washington. Thank you for joining us. I'm Brenda Braxton. The hot, dry, gusty conditions are affecting people who don't even live near these wildfires. We'll get to that in a moment, but first we want to show you the latest numbers. There are 5 active wildfires in Oregon right now. Double Creek is the largest, burning more than 100,000 acres in the northeastern part of the state, right near the Idaho border. It's 15% contained and was started by lightning. Lightning also started the Cedar Creek fire in central Oregon east of Oak Ridge. It's grown to 33,000 acres and is 12% contained. Both of these fires are causing multiple evacuations.
I encourage all Oregonians to make an emergency plan with your families today. Go to bed tonight with a plan in the event your family needs to evacuate or you wake up without power.
That was the reality for thousands of Oregonians this morning. Multiple counties have now lost power. PGE and Pacific Power are doing it on purpose. They're turning off the electricity to make sure strong wind doesn't topple power lines and then spark even more fires. Pacific Power says it's already notified more than 12,000 customers in Lynn, Douglas, Lincoln, Tillamook, Marion, and Polk counties. For links to outage maps from Pacific Power and PGE, you can text us the word POWER to 503-226-5088. You can also download the KGW News app for updates. Let's head back to the Weather Center now and check in with Rod Hill. So what kind of wind speeds are you seeing right now?
It's been something to watch just in the past hour, Brendan. Here are the numbers at noon. Look at this. Out at the airport, that's PDX, now popping an east wind gust of 40 miles per hour. The sustained winds are at 29, by the way. Troutdale 35. We've now got winds moving out into Washington County. There's Hillsborough northeast gust to 29, and we'll broaden our view and see what we have. Not that windy along the coast, but winds are picking up. There's a northeast wind in Newport of 17 and the northeast winds in Bend as well. If you've been outdoors in the past hour, I was up around Marine Drive along the Columbia River at 11 o'clock this morning. That's when the red flag warning began for the east winds and the high fire danger. And like that, the wind went from nothing to literally blowing everything around. All that blowing around wind is going to be increasing the haze of wildfire smoke in our sky coming up as well. Another tale of east winds, they often produce rapid warming. So here we are, all of a sudden, despite starting off in the 50s across much of the valley, we're at 83 degrees at noon. A reminder, the red flag warning, everything in red. This includes from the coast, through the valley, the Cascades, Central Oregon, out through the gorge, out into Pendleton. Now, if there is, I don't know if I would call it good news, but something you should know. If you live in an area where you may lose power, or you have, due to power companies' directives, the wind event itself is about a 36-hour event from 11 o'clock this morning through 11 o'clock tomorrow night. At that time, we think winds will rapidly fade. And right now, the red flag warning for high fire danger is set to expire at 11 p.m. Saturday evening. So some good news there. 15 to 25 mile per hour winds increasing across the valley, gust to 40. We're already seeing that out along the Columbia River and the gorge. Relative humidity is very dry. Temperatures en route to be up into the 90s today. More on the forecast and air quality coming up.
Thank you, Rod. We have some new video this noon of a crash this morning involving a Portland police car on Southeast 99th and Stark. Authorities say another vehicle T-boned the officer just before 3 a.m. The driver told investigators she was heading to the airport when she took a wrong turn. The officer was hurt in this crash and went to the hospital. The other driver was not hurt, and authorities say she was not impaired. Now for an update on a deadly case of road rage that happened back in July. Authorities have arrested Justin McAnulty. He is in the Polk County Jail today. Investigators say he opened fire along Highway 18 between the coast and McMinnville, just west of Grand Ronde. The victim, Dennis Anderson, was driving with his longtime partner when the suspect shot at them, killing Anderson. Anderson's partner was not hurt.
And she's dead, and we've got somebody that shouldn't be out of jail because he is anything but a good citizen. And now, hey, he's found another little loophole.
The family of a murdered Vancouver teenager is horrified that her killer may get out of prison. And it's all because of a recent change in Washington law. Roy Russell strangled 14-year-old Chelsea Harrison in his Vancouver apartment in 2005. He got life in prison under the state's 3 strikes law, which mandates a life sentence after 3 violent felonies. But in 2019, state lawmakers removed second-degree robbery as a strike for future offenders. And that was a charge on Russell's record. Last year, lawmakers made that change retroactive, allowing more than 100 criminals to be resentenced to less than life in prison, and that included Russell. The prosecutor who worked on his murder trial is outraged.
Had we known that 16 years later they were going to change the law and change the rules, we would have charged the case differently.
Russell will be resentenced this October. He could be released in as little as 4 years with credit for time served. Well, the city of Gresham is adding more cameras around town to help a police force that's dealing with an officer shortage. Mike Benner reports on these eyes in the sky that are helping to fight crime.
I'm here at the corner of Northwest Burnside and Eastman Parkway in Gresham. One of the city's 24 cameras is mounted right here, ready to give police a 360-degree view of the intersection.
Mounted on power poles across Gresham, you'll find cameras just like this one. The city installed the first 3 a decade ago, but since then, the camera count has grown to 24.
It's been a very intentional effort, especially over the past year, with some of the uptick in violent crime, to add those cameras. So
Officer Adam Baker took a break from patrol to tell us about the cameras. He says since the cameras were installed, police have noticed a 20 to 50% reduction in crime in some areas. And he says the footage from the cameras has been used in more than 100 criminal investigations.
And that's anything from a fatal car crash to burglars that leave one location, and we can kind of follow the travel through town.
Officer Baker goes on to say while it's not an easy task, the cameras can be moved from one area to another if there's a noticeable spike in crime. But with a program like this comes the potential for criticism.
Police are well aware that these cameras could rub people the wrong way. People who think they're too big brother or an invasion of privacy. I asked law enforcement about that.
My take on that is that we aren't monitoring these cameras all the time. There's only a few people that have access to the footage. It's not like we have somebody sitting in front of monitors and watching things going on at all times.
Instead, Officer Baker says staffers look back at the footage if and when a crime happens. He says it's quite helpful to a police department facing a staffing crisis. And that explains why an additional 10 cameras are slated to be installed soon.
We just want people to know that the cameras are not there to spy on people. They are there to help police solve crimes and hold people accountable for the actions that they do.
Reporting in Gresham, I'm Mike Benner for KGW News.
Teachers in Ridgefield are on strike today. The school district says classes are canceled until further notice. There was a bargaining session last night, and the union says the two sides made progress, but the district is still refusing to spend more on mental health and special ed. Top of mind for many health officials today, monkeypox. The Oregon Health Authority will now publish monthly reports breaking down cases by sexual orientation, gender, race, and ethnicity. The hope is that will help support communities most affected by this virus. So here are the latest numbers. Oregon has 108 confirmed cases of monkeypox. Most of those are in Multnomah County. The state is reporting 1 pediatric case. Washington also tracking monkeypox. It reports 488 cases and 14 hospitalizations. The Washington State Department of Health says most of those cases are in King County. Well, tomorrow, Legacy Health in Northwest Portland is giving out free monkeypox vaccines. It says everyone who's eligible should highly consider getting this shot, but right now, not everybody is eligible, only people considered high risk. According to the CDC, that means those who've had contact with an infected person. and you have to be at least 18. You can schedule an appointment and learn more about monkeypox at legacyhealth.org. Well, today, Britain's new king paid tribute to his late mother.
Let us remember and draw strength from the light of her example.
Next at noon, the new monarch and his first address to the nation. Plus, traveling the Oregon coast is inspiring one artist. We're heading to Newport for Grant's Getaways.